Hi, welcome to another tutorial on AI automation with n8n and MCP servers. In this video, we are going to dig deeper into nodes and we'll see how nodes work. For this purpose, firstly, let's open or start the n8n container image. Just open the Docker, go to containers, press the start button, and then open the command prompt and put this line of code. Again, here you will replace your own URL, and the port for me is 5670. As you can see right here, it's 5670. So let's enter for Ngrok tunneling, and now let's open this URL. In the previous video, we have discussed the interface of n8n, and now let's dig deeper, create the workflow. I'll rename this workflow to n8n underscore 01. And first of all, let's import our trigger. For the few videos, I'm going to stick with this manual trigger. Then we are going to switch our gears to other triggers as well. Now, if I open this trigger, as you can see, this is the menu of our manual trigger. Since it's a first node in the workflow, that's why it isn't going to take anything as an input. So there is no input panel. Then we have some parameters, some settings, and then some output. Since it's just a manual trigger node, that's why by default it does not output anything. But what if we want to output some mock data just to test out the workflow? Then in that case, you can either click on this set mock data, or you can use this pen tool. So let's use this pen tool and create some mock data. When I click on the pen tool, this is the interface which you will get. And if you are familiar with what's called JSON, then you will obviously identify the code. But if you are not familiar with JSON, then don't worry. The data between nodes in the n8n workflow flows in JSON format. So just like we have images in JPEG format or in PNG format, we similarly have another format which is called JSON, and the structure looks something like this. For example, let me remove it and just keep the structure minimal. So this is the very basic structure of JSON. First of all, we have these square brackets, which is mandatory for you. And then inside these square brackets, we can have multiple these parentheses. So these parentheses basically defines the different data items. So currently, I have just single data items. That's why there is only a single pair of these parentheses. But if I want to have multiple data items, then I can put another pair of these parentheses. Now, inside these parentheses, you can define your data in form of key value pairs. So you can think of key as an identifier. If you're familiar with programming, then obviously you will be familiar with these things. But I'm discussing it in case if someone that isn't familiar with programming is watching. So let's define some data here. Maybe I'll have a name, and the name is going to be maybe Angela Scott. And let's define another data item. That would be email. And let's type here the email. Now I have intentionally typed this email in this format, although it's not a correct format, but let's imagine we are getting data from somewhere else in this format. Now you can even nest items inside items. So this is my one item, and I can put another item right inside this item. Let's imagine I have skills, and the skill is going to be a list, or you can think of an array or a collection of items. So first of all, I'll have Python, then Django, and then APIs. So now this is my one item. Now let's define quickly another item. I'll follow the same structure. I have the name, email, skills, and in this case, name is Umair Ahmed. Then this is the email, and then we have skills. Then this is another data item. Once you have the mock data ready, all you need to do is to click on this save, and this is going to save the data. After putting the data, now the interface of the output of this trigger node will change. So before any kind of data, we didn't had these table, JSON, and schema buttons. But now since we have the data, that's why we have these three items as well. And as you can see, our data by default in this first node, in this trigger, manual trigger node, is pinned. So what this pinned means, this means that the data will remain the same in each workflow execution. Now let's move to this table view. In table view, you are going to see your input data in tabular format. We have three columns: name, email, and skills. And then in each column, we have the respective data. Then if you want to see the data in JSON format, the format in which we have written the data, you can click on this JSON and you will see the data in JSON format. For example, if you want to know about the data structure or the structure of the data, then you can obviously use this table view. You can see we have column, but the most suitable way is to click on the schema, and schema tells you how your data is going to look like. So we have the name, email, skills, and then we have three skills. Since there are three data items, so if I go back to the canvas and test this workflow, you can see that this node is returning me three items. Let's take another step and apply some data transformation. For example, currently this name field has the first name and the last name, and the email field has some upper and lowercase characters. So I'm going to apply some data transformation. First of all, I'm going to split this name field into first name and last name, and also I'm going to change the characters of the email to R lowercase. So let's do that data transformation. You can either click on this plus arrow or you can click on this plus arrow. So let's click here, and all you need to do is to search for this set node. So here, as you can see, we got this set node, and the description says that it can modify, add, or remove item fields. So basically we need to modify fields. That's why I'm going to use this set node. Just click here, and by default sometimes it happens that this set field does not connect automatically. So just remove it, and if I open this set field, you can see that the input field is now empty, and it is giving us this warning sort of message that please wire me. So first of all, you need to wire this set field. After wiring it and after opening it, now you can see that we have the input panel, then the transformation or the processing block, and then the output panel. Again, if you want to check the tabular format of the input data, you can click on this table form. This is the data which is being provided to this particular node, and if you want to view the data in JSON format, you can click on this JSON. So first of all, I'm going to apply the transformation on this name field. There are two modes. One is this manual mode, and then we have the JSON mode. So first of all, let's stick with this manual mode, and then select those fields on which you want to apply transformation or you want to set it to something else. One way is to just manually write the code like this. Just name the field and write its value, but I think we are going to do it later. It's a bit tricky, not that much. We are going to use this drag and drop feature. So I'm going to apply transformation on this name field. Go to the schema tab and just drag and drop that name field right here. So as you can see, this is the name which is going to appear on the output panel. So if I test this step, my output key is going to be name, and the value is going to be the whatever value we have assigned to this name. So if you go to the tabular form, we have just a single columns with 3 rows, and the column name is name. So if I change this name to something like first name and test this step, now the column name has been changed to first name. So just go back to the schema, and now I'm going to extract only this first part from this whole name. So let's think about it step by step. First of all, I need to split this whole full name based on this space. So how to split it? It's very simple. All I need to do is to write here dot, and then you can see we have this split function. So just write split, and now I need to define the separator for this split. So the separator in this case is going to be this empty space. So just put here these double quotes, and inside these double quotes let's define the separator, which is just a simple space. And you can see the expected output right below. So after putting this space, we can see that now we are going to get this array. So if I test this step, you can see we got the array, and or you can call it like list, just like we have these skills, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3. And now this first item in this array or list is our first name, and this second item in this array or list is our last name. Let's extract this first item because it's our first name. So how you can extract the first item? This first item is located at index 0, and this second item is located at index 1 in this particular array. So just put here these square brackets and then define the index of that item. So the first name is located at index 0 because in programming the numbers start from 0. So that's why the first item is at index 0. Now as you can see, if I test this step under this first column, I got just the first name, Angelo, Umair and Jack. Now let's do the same step for extracting the last name. So I'm going to again drag and drop this name field second time, and I'll do the same process. First of all, let's split this name based on the space, and in this case, instead of extracting the first name, I'm going to extract the last name. So it is located at index 1. And as you can see, we got this code now, and I'm going to name this column to last name. And now test this step. And as you can see, we got now two columns. In first column, we have the first name, and in second column, we have the last name. But now, I also want to include this email skills as well, because currently in the output, I'm just getting the first name and last name, not the emails or skills. So if you scroll down here, as you can see, we have this radio button, and it says include other fields. So we do want to include other fields. So let's click here, and now we will have all the fields. So just test this step. And now as you can see, we got the name field, we got the email field, we got the skill field, and then we have the first name and last name. So don't you think that it doesn't make sense to have the name field after extracting the first name and last name? So we need to skip this name field and just need to include this first name and last name. So if you scroll bit down, you can see that input fields to include, and by default it will be set to all. So we need to change this all from all except. So we need to include all the field except few fields. So just select this option, and now we need to specify which fields I do not want to include. So I do not want to include this name field in my output. So just drag and drop the name field right here, and now let's test this step. That's great. We got the email field, the skills field, first name and last name, and we do not have the name field now. So up till now, I hope you have understood. In the next step, what we need to do is to apply some transformation on this email field as well. So I'm going to convert all the characters to lowercase of this email field. So again, I need to apply some transformation. So just go back to this fields to set tab and just drag and drop the email field now. And here we got this email field, and now I need to convert it to lowercase. So just write to lower. You can see we have this to lower function. and this is the output. We can clearly see that A, S, and E is capital in the input email, but now we have all the letters in the small case. So now test this step. We got email, skills, first name, and last name. So as you can see, if these field names are same, the n8n is going to override the input field. But if I change this field name from email to something like email lower, then we will have the email field as well as this email underscore lower. So now as you can see, we have the email underscore lower and the email field. So it's a good practice to define here the same name field and just tell this n8n to skip the email field. So just put the email field. Now we are going to skip the name field as well as the email field because we are modifying the email field right here. Now let's test this step. We got skills, first name, last name, and email. That's good. Now if you go back to the canvas and test this workflow, we can see that we are getting 3 outputs from this edit field. Now let's talk about conditions. For example, I want to classify these users based on their skills. So all I need to do is to add an if block or condition block. So just search for if and just include it and go back to canvas. By default, n8n is smart enough to attach it. Now in the input panel of this if block, you can see that it is fetching the output from the edit fields and the when click test workflow field. Now what does this means? Basically these are the names of these 2 nodes. So it's better to always rename your nodes to make sense. So just rename this node, double click and rename it. So I'm going to name it something like trigger node. And I'm going to name it to something like transformation node. And now if you open this if block, you can see that from the transformation node, I'm getting these outputs. And from the trigger node, I'm getting these outputs. So you can use the outputs from this trigger node or you can use the outputs from the transformation node. Keeping in view our scenario, obviously we are going to use the outputs from this transformation node. I'm going to check whether this skill list contains Python or not. So it's very simple. All I need to do is to just drag and drop skills right here, and I'll say under this array or list, so list and arrays both are same things. Under this array, I'm going to search for contains. So whether this array contains Python or not. So just type here Python and test step. Now as you can see, we got 2 branches, the true branch and the false branch. So inside the true branch, we have just 1 item because only 1 person has this Python skills. If you go to this table view, you can see that we have this Angelo who has this Python skills. Umair and Jack doesn't have the Python skills. So that's why on the true branch, we have just 1 item, and on the false branch, we have 2 items. Now, for example, if I want to count how many people have the Python skill and how many people don't have the Python skills. After splitting the data based on the Python skills, all I need to do is to just count the items. So we can visually see that this false branch has 2 items and this true branch has 1 items. But if I want to save this data in the database like Airtable, then I need to include another node for counting the items. For this purpose, I'm going to click on this plus, which will count the people with the Python skills, and I'm going to again add a set block. And inside this set block, what I'm going to do is to just write how many data items are being provided to this particular node. So now I'm going to use this manual input fields. So just click here, add fields, and there is a special variable, or you can say keywords, which identifies how many items are being provided to this node. So the name is going to be Python people, so people who knows Python, and the value is going to be my custom line of code. And here I'll first select how many items are being provided to me. So just put this $sign and say items. And as you can see, the text is being treated as string. So I don't want this n8n to treat my code as string. So I'll switch from fixed to expression. And now as you can see, I'm getting the result. Currently it's red. So I'll say items dot and then put these rounded brackets, and now I'm getting something. So as you can see, again we have this array, and if I test this step, you can see we got an array and it has only a single item in JSON format. So all I need to do is to just count how many items are there in this array. So I'll say dot length, and now as you can see the result is 1. So just test this step and we got 1. So this means there is only a single person who has the Python skills. Now let's do the same process for this false. How many people do not have this Python skill? Again, just click on this plus, search for the set block, and I'm going to add a field. Switch from fixed to expression because we are going to write our own expression. Name the column, I'll say non-Python people, and then write the expression. So again, the expressions always begins with these double pair of parentheses. And first of all, let's access all the items by saying items and then putting these rounded brackets. So basically it's a function which return us all the items. And then I'll say dot length, and now the result is 2. There are 2 people who do not have the Python skills. Test this step and we got now 2. So as you can see, this set block will be executed for each item. We are providing 2 items to this block, that's why it is being executed 2 times. But we don't want to execute it, we just want to execute it once. All we are doing is just counting. So for this purpose, if you go to settings, and under settings you are going to find this option execute once. So we just want to execute it only once. So just select this option, and now if I test this step, I'll get only single 2. So we are just executing this block only once. And let's do the same for this block. I'll go to settings and set it to execute once, and then test this step. We got it. So this is our workflow. I think this video was a bit longer, but these things are quite important to understand. So just make sure to test this workflow once and everything is fine. So I hope you have understood, and let me save the workflow, and in the next video we are going to learn something new, and I'll see you there. Bye bye.